Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, Alex Turbin. This week I'm going to be reviewing Psycho because it's October and that's Halloween and that's scary month. And so for the rest of the month, I'm going to try to do mostly scary comic books, which is not really my favorite type of comic, but let's get into it anyway and see what we like. But before that, I want to introduce you to some of my own comics. I create these for mainly for patrons on patreon.com/Alexander Turbin. And you can get those for $2 a month. It's a full size, full color comic book that, like I said, is $2 a month. This is the latest issue. It's called Random Access. I also sell these on my website, alexanderturbin.com. And you can get these for relatively cheaply. Random Access is only $1.25, and that's for full 12 pages of full color comics. I also have Cyrene the Cleric and Mutandis and a bunch of other stuff on my website. If you like this content, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell and all that cool stuff. um, so on to the comic book. So this came out in 1992 by Innovation Comics, and they are one of my favorite comic book publishers. Almost all of their stuff is painterly, and it's a lot of adaptations, and it's just really high quality, high quality paper, high quality art, high quality. I'm not gonna say high quality writing, so because some of it's not so great, but they're really were one of the best publishers for adaptations. Um, I just kind of noticed something. Why would you stick your number one right there? Somebody who designed this comic, they did not do very good because that should have been way up here, and a different color, not bright white. Why? I mean, you've got this gorgeous painted cover with Norman Bates and Janet Leigh, and it's just destroys the whole thing. Okay, it's not doesn't destroy the whole thing, but it's really kind of off-putting. I don't really understand why they did that. Um, but there's a couple things. So like I said, it's 1992 by Innovation, and it's adapted by Felipe. Oh God, I'm gonna get this all wrong. Ichi Ichiraro, Ichiraro, Avare, Avarea. I give up. Anyway, he does a great job. It's painted. All of the characters look really like the movie. Here's Alfred Hitchcock portrait, which is it's really cool. I don't know if he took stills and went off of them, whether he traced them in painting or he just used them as reference or what. But they're all really really nice. Everything, like I said, is fully painted, and look at this. He goes into exhaustive detail just with the backgrounds, and he has like really nice details and perspectives. Like I said, I don't know if he traces any of this or just goes by it, because look at this amazing uh, panel here, and in this detail in the window and the skin tones and skin color. The one thing I will say about his art is that, because I'm going mostly from the art, because it's an adaptation and it basically goes through Psycho exactly. It's an exact detailed adaptation of it. It's almost word for word. I haven't gone back and watched the movie and compared it to the comic, but in my imagination, it's word for word almost. I can't imagine they took anything too important out of the dialogue. But Alfred Hitchcock, he should have written comic books, because all of this stuff is perfectly scripted. I mean, writing for movies is fine and all that, but if he had done comic books, he would. Alan Moore could probably be called the Alfred Hitchcock of comic books, and it's written very similarly, really. The dialogue just is flows off the tongue, and it just seems like everything is perfectly done, scripting wise, dialogue wise, writing wise, which, Hitchcock is one of the masters. And so I can't really say that Felipe does a great job writing it or adapting it, because if he's taking it directly from the movie, then he's really not doing all that much work, other than the pacing of where he's putting the word balloons, and uh, just the art going along with it. But that's not part of the scripting process. Um, the one thing I would say about the art, and it's obviously beautiful, but everything is very, very fuzzy. It makes it a little bit more authentic and realistic looking, and people really look how they really look. Um, but I kind of wish that there were a little bit harder edges on some of these things. I mean, look at this beautiful background. But he puts his effort into the backgrounds here and not in here, which is perfectly exactly what you should do. If you have a close up like that, you shouldn't really exhaust yourself on backgrounds that aren't really needed. Um, all of the characters speak very well. Their emotions um, are great. Um, they're very expressive as well. Like all the expressions are perfectly timed and perfectly um, go perfectly with the panels. And it's like he maybe took the film pictures of the film and organized them, and then maybe laid it out like that. Does that sound like that's a possibility? I'm also wondering how big the illustrations are, because shrunk down, I think you would have lost some of the details. But also, if you're painting that small, that must be pretty difficult too. My guess is he's a little bit bigger than standard comic book page, um, but not too much. But that's just a guess. Um, he's got great blacks, like it's great darks and great lights. So all the shadows and shading and everything is perfectly done. Again, here's your great expressions. Um, I mean, he must take that directly from the movie, but I'm not going to discount his skill in creating that. Um, I don't know. Is this a type of rotoscoping? Um, I don't know. I don't know, but it's beautifully done. Uh, so I can't complain about it. The story goes long. Um, I think probably everybody knows it, but this secretary who starts out having an affair. I don't know. I don't think they're having an affair. They're just having a sexual encounter, but he's like ex-wife and she's never been married. So he's not in an affair, but they meet at a motel room. Um, I guess because he doesn't like where he lives and she wants more. I'm not going to go into the details of the psycho story and go through the nuances of what the psycho story means and everything. I'm sure that's been done to death, being maybe one of the greatest horror movies of all time, if not the greatest horror movie of all time. But I mean, the story flows. It's got his artwork really encapsulates the emotion of what's going on, the suspensefulness. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock is really known for his suspense. Um, Even from the very beginning, they're in this motel room and all the shutters and everything and the shadows. It makes it very intense and creepy. And the artist really conveys that really eloquently. His brushstrokes are beautiful. He's got great skin tones and shadows and shadings. Like I said, everything looks really, really accurate and real. Um, I mean, some of the great scenes, her being stopped by the cop. So anyway, it's a secretary. She steals some money. She runs away, and she ends up at the Bates Motel. Really, that's the big thing. And here's a little preview of Phantom. Um, Phantom of the Opera, I think. Yeah, Phantom of the Opera, another great innovation book. Um, so, yep, she goes and she buys herself a new car, trades her old car in, and it's $700. She stole $40,000, and she trades in a car for $700. So that $40,000 is gonna get her quite a ways. Um, Here's a famous scene from the movie, and he does it very nicely. I really wish I knew if this was some kind of rotoscoped or traced, or I'm not sure how you do that with painting, and even what medium this is. I assume it's watercolor, but at times it looks a little oil colorish, oil painting ish. But I'm quite sure that it's watercolors, which it's particularly nice. Here's some more innovation comics, all painted. So then she ends up at the hotel, and as we know, it's Norman Bates, and he's the psycho, and you get this really creepy vibe from him. This is unusual because he puts a lot of effort into getting the likeness of Janet Leigh, um, but Norman, I feel like that's not really. I feel like he doesn't get Norman very well at all, which is very odd because you would think that such an iconic actor and character, you would have him really stress what Norman Bates looks like, but he kind of doesn't really do it. It's kind of very more faded um, than Janet is. So anyway, they go along, and it ends with him looking through the peephole at her. Um, and then there's that Hitchcock thing again. One other thing is the panel borders on this book are open. They don't have any panel borders um, frames, which it bothers me. I really don't like it, but at the same time, because of that, um, because of that bothering me, it also ups the tension of the book and the movie, which is what the movie and the book is supposed to be all about, is the tension of the comic. So not having any borders really bothers me, which is very odd because a lot of my comics, I like to breathe a lot of air into them. I have panels with no borders, no backgrounds, just the figures, a little Frank Miller-ish. But yeah, the no borders kind of bothered me a little bit. But other than that, I mean, how can you possibly complain about a beautiful comic book like this? It's absolutely gorgeous. And if you like horror at all, or older movies or anything like that, then I would definitely recommend picking this up. Um, so I would give this a good solid 9. Um, Things I would take away from it is that stupid number right in the middle of the freaking page. Um, but I would also kind of take away from this because of it's so fuzzy. Um, I mean, it's still gorgeous, but it's a little too fuzzy for me, especially when you get in on the faces. Uh, so that kind of drops it down to a 9, but a 9 is pretty good. So gets 9 stars out of 10 for me, and it's really a beautiful book, and I highly recommend it. Thanks a lot for watching, and again, if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and telling all your friends and buddies, and letting them know where all the cool comic reviews are. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.